Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you?
I cheat. I'm not telling you how I am today.
Oh.
I found some information from listening to a different podcast.
Oh.
Two Girls, One Ghost, if you're familiar. It's dope. If you're not, add it to the list because it's super fun. This
Okay.
is the podcast that my mom thinks one of the girls is me, even though she's not. We've listened to it
Oh.
and she's like, that sounds like you. Is this your podcast? I said, no. She said, are you sure? Yes. Yes, I am. Anyways, did you know, and you may have talked about this because we know I have a terrible memory, did you know that there's an actual Stargate project for the US that's
Yes.
called Stargate Project?
I don't know any details. I did know it existed, though.
But we haven't talked about it on the podcast yet.
I don't believe so.
Amazing. That's what I love to hear. So there's actually two. I learned today there was two. I learned a week ago there was one, now there's two.
Mm.
The second one's much less exciting, so we're starting there.
Oh, okay.
Trump has a new Stargate project, and it is just something about AI and integrating it into society and making it better technology. I don't know. That's much more boring. Like it's fine. That's a fine project to have, but it's just much more boring. So,
Fair.
um, so the Stargate project is one of the declassified CIA documents from
Like re
1978.
but recently declassified?
Um,
Or
who's to say? Who's to say?
well, I just know, I don't know, Trump declassified everything.
Oh, no, no, no. This was before that. This is
Okay.
before that. Like it could have been 5 years ago, but it could have been 20 years ago. I don't,
Okay,
but
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
it wasn't
like
part of
yesterday.
it wasn't part of the like 2 months ago like media dump where he was
No.
like, I'm president again. Here's everything they hid from you.
Right. No, 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 no. This was like people knew about this before then.
Got it.
Um, and it ran from 1978 to 1995. Um, speaking of getting AI in line, AI told me that they named it after this movie came out. And I was like, that can't be true. It came out in 94. That's not true. So if you ask AI and it tells you that this is based off the Stargate movie, they're liars.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was held at Fort Meade, Maryland, and it was to investigate the potential for the psychic phenomena in military and domestic intelligence applications. And so they did this project. They had a couple different names. So like Gondola Wish, Girlfriend, Project CF, like they had a lot of it, but Stargate was like one of the main project names.
Okay.
And so I'm listening to Two Girls, One Ghost, and they're talking about the Monroe Institute, which they call the Monroe Institute, and I don't like it because how do you say that word? Um,
No, it's
but
Monroe.
yeah, it's Monroe because you have one and I have one,
Yeah.
and it's Monroe.
Correct.
I do think they're Canadian. I don't remember, so maybe they
Mm.
just don't know how
They're
words
just
work.
stupid.
Right, except they're the best. I've just joined their Patreon
No,
because
I just call everyone stupid when they say words wrong, including myself.
Oh,
So like
sure,
it's not.
sure, sure, sure. Um, so they're talking about the Monroe Institute, and they're going through it, and they're like, yeah, they had a couple other ones, and they're like the Project Pegasus, heard of it. Project like Blue Book, heard of it. Project Stargate, and I was like, what? And then they like went on, and I was like, wait, I have more questions.
Are you like, come back to
Um,
me, please?
I know, I was like, please answer my question next. This is not a live podcast. This was a very recorded podcast, so they did not hear me or care. Um, so then I was like, I gotta know more. So what they worked on primarily was remote viewing. So almost like astral projecting, which is kind of similar to what the Monroe Institute like worked on as well. They have
Okay.
the Monroe Institute, if you haven't heard, is the one where they did all of the different like sound waves. And
Okay,
they
yeah,
are still open to do courses now. So like you can still take courses through them to
yeah.
like
Okay.
go into different levels, and it's essentially astral projecting. I don't know if they call it that, but that's essentially what it is.
Cool.
Um, so this was um da, da, da. Yeah, so this was basically what they did, and it was declassified in 1995. So your answer to your question. It was declassified 30, 20, 30 years ago. I was like, how does that first work? Um, because they concluded that it was never useful in an intelligence operation. All the information is vague and included irrelevant, erroneous data. as they do when they're hiding stuff. Um,
I mean,
and
yes, but also I would believe that cool science, sci-fi shit gets shut down because it wasn't as militarily um
sure,
successful as they thought it could be. Because like
yeah.
astral projection is cool, but will it actually help you win a war? Probably not.
Well, it kind of depends because one of the things with like remote viewing, if you're doing astral projecting, if you can project, especially like we're in different time zones, so if we're asleep at night and you can project into like daytime military meetings in a different area, like that'd be dope. But there's a lot of different intricacies. Sometimes you have to have been there before. Sometimes you have to like know the time and date, location, longitude, latitude, blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah. Like there's a lot of
and
factors.
also like I wouldn't trust that remote viewing was any different than lucid dreaming. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm.
I could not use that as viable information.
Right. Well, that's why you have
Like,
to test it a lot. Like you'd have to make sure you like
yeah,
could test it, and they didn't have enough evidence, I'm sure, because I would imagine they were like, this takes a lot of time and effort, and we can't even be sure it works. So,
right.
like, while if it does work, it would be helpful, it takes a lot more effort than they're willing to put into it, which is fine, but it is what it is.
No, I also understand because one of the things I was going to talk about today is the dream that I had this weekend that caused me to not sleep. And when I tell you about this dream, you'll understand why I don't trust anything that is potentially conjured from
Mm.
someone's brain.
Yeah, I mean, our brains are wild. Like, it's so crazy. And I'm trying to see if there was anything else that I needed to give you a little update on. I mean, that's really it. They did. This was part of the psychotronic research. So if you remember, there's still speculation that it's not all been declassified. A lot of stuff that has been declassified is like heavily
Right.
redacted. So like it's possible they figured out something to do with similar things, but this just wasn't. This one they decided was not it. They redesigned it like 3 or 4 times. Duh, 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 duh. Yeah, so that was it. They declassified it for no use. It ended up being um it's talked about in the book The Men Who Stare at Goats, which I haven't read. I think it's a movie too and
Oh,
I haven't
yeah,
seen.
it is. It is. I've heard of that.
Um and then like David Marks wrote about it in his book and the psychology of the psychic. Let's see. And so it was declassified in 1995, and then in January 2017, the CIA published more records online as part of the CREST archive, which I think is also the same archive that talks about like the Monroe Institute and whatnot. So that is what I wanted to bring to the table today is that there was a Stargate project that sounds really dope and one that sounds like they just wanted to give AI a cool name and tell you about that. So that's how I.
I love
How are
that.
you?
Well, I did not sleep very well this weekend.
Mm, same.
Um, and my watch keeps telling me that my resting heart rate while sleeping is too high.
Mm.
And Dan was like, "What's going on? Like, are you drinking caffeine before? But like, why are you not?" I go, "I don't think you understand that I quite literally have panic attacks in my sleep and don't wake up." And he was like, very, very concerned by that. And I was like, "Let me just tell you about my dream. And then you'll understand why sleep is not an option for me." And he was like, "Okay." So Saturday, for this episode is going to be premiering in
Like,
basically July. I feel like I don't even.
no, this is the June 29th. This
It is June 29th, you're right, which is basically July.
it's
But
basically July, but it is June.
yeah. But while recording this, this past Saturday was May 31st. And for those of you who are not as obsessive as I am, um were basically the entire city of Buffalo, Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld got married on Saturday.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, it's very cute. But so I had a dream that I was at their wedding,
Love that.
which would be great.
Mhm.
However, we get to their wedding, and before the wedding starts, they have a gun safety presentation. on what to do if someone attacks the wedding. And like 16 people stand up with AK-47s in the front of this venue, which, by the way, is in the middle of an amusement park.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
So then my brother, who is not the 28-year-old that my brother is now, he is a like 12-year-old, comes running in, freaking out because he's going to get arrested because he robbed this stand at the amusement park. So I have to go figure out what's going on and take care of it, which I don't know why I did because my parents were also there. But anyway, I had to go take care of this thing where my brother was robbing the amusement park. But then my brother was robbing the amusement park because he paid for a story time, but they only read one page of a story and then expected him to still pay for it. And so I got pissed off and paid them only in 50-cent coins. Where I had that many 50-cent coins, I don't know. But then I had to get all these coins to this lady and make it back through the amusement park in time to not miss the start of the wedding.
What a fun adventure.
It was not fun. It was very stressful. And that is why my resting heart rate was 20 beats per minute higher than it should have been for the entire night, basically.
I had a dream that my house got broken into and someone tried to attack me, but I did forget to wear my watch that night, so I can't be certain. I'm sure it didn't go well, but
Yeah.
I can't be certain.
Um, but basically, I have determined that that is probably what happens every night. Like
Hmm.
I'm exhausted all of the time.
Sure.
But when I realize that that's what's happening when I'm trying to sleep, probably why I'm tired all the
Probably doesn't
time.
help.
Probably doesn't
Right.
help. But also leads me to believe that anyone who like lucid dreams or has astral projections or like prophetic dreams, I don't trust them because that's what my brain comes up with when I'm sleeping.
Prophetic dreams, I need way more. Like, I need a study. I need you to give me a study. Tell me
Yeah.
everything. I want the notebooks where you wrote it down the day it happened so we can
Yeah.
compare it to when it happened in real
Because
life.
like
Like,
I for sure had like deja vu moments where
me too.
I know I can like vividly recall a dream that I had and then later, like years later, I'll be like, "Oh my
Right.
God." And I have told people about the dream, so it's not like I made it up. However, they're usually like very inane situations. Like I had a dream
Yeah.
about sitting in a circle in a dorm room in college, and then like I actually got to college and go, oh my God, I remember this dream. But like
Yeah.
it's not like life-changing prophecy.
Right, right. So I would want dream journals that are on the record. Not even that you just like, I wrote it that day. No, I need them on the record so that
Yeah.
I can track it.
Yeah.
Lucid dreaming just terrifies me. I don't want you to tell me
Dan
about
does
that.
it.
Oh my
Dan
gosh.
knows he's dreaming. In his dreams, he knows he's dreaming and he can wake himself up. It's fucking terrifying
Like,
to me.
I've done that before, like a few times, especially if I have a recurring dream, like by the millionth time, I'm like,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
here. Like, it's
When
obviously a dream.
when I used to have really bad recurring nightmares, I would know that that's what was happening and like try to wake myself up.
Yeah, I had like one really long running recurring nightmare and one really long running recurring regular dream. And both of those I could figure that out. But sleep paralysis, all of these things that come
Oh
along
my
with
God.
it, terrifying.
My
Um,
friend Ashley has really bad sleep paralysis sometimes.
I am
And
so
it is,
scared.
no, terrifying. Terrifying.
Astral projecting, I at least feel like even without like prior documentation, you can tell me something and then I can fact check it on my own. Like you can say they talked about this in the Senate today, and then I can wait in a few days when the Senate comes out. I can be like, okay, you told me about this when you had your like
That's
astral
fair. That's
projecting.
fair. But like also I wouldn't be the person trying to use it for scientific or military purposes. Like I could fact
Oh,
check you
absolutely
later
not.
on, but I'm not going to be the person that you report those to and then I have to make decisions based on your reports.
Oh, I'd love it. I would love it. I would please tell me when you astral project, and then I will go do the research and I will figure out what happened. Um, I want to
No,
be a
but
feminist
like,
now. I'm having new life crisis again.
no, but
Um,
okay, I understand what you're saying, and this it's all fascinating, and you want to do the research, but you want to do the research. I'm saying I don't want to be the person that's running a military operation where I take your astral projection of what was said on the Senate floor and then send a bomb to a different country. Like
oh,
I'm not the
first of
per.
all, I don't want to be running a military operation. Let's just start
That's
there.
what that
That's
was
not
what
what
I
I'm doing.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say. The
Yeah,
government
yeah.
research part of it, like the government research, you might want to work in the research department. The
Yeah, yeah.
purposes for which the government was researching, I want nothing to do with that.
See, I want to do it for entertainment purposes. I want authors to come to me and say, I was at an author roundtable and they talked about this, and they're going to write this story. So you can
Listen,
keep up with the trends that are coming out so that we're releasing
if
things at the right time. Great,
if
fine.
anyone who listens to this podcast can fucking astral project, I need you to stalk Sarah J. Mass and sit in her living room every goddamn waking moment until we get a fucking release date for Avatar 6.
Also, call me. I'd like to set up a business where we figure out trends and we track them for authors
Yeah.
so that we can make sure our authors, our team of authors, I've got a lot of author ideas lately. I'll tell you all about it later. But
Okay.
yeah. So start Project Stargate.
Well, Stargate.
How exciting.
What a show. So today we are taking a little mini break. It is DNA Awards 2.0 for Stargate for our middle era of Stargate seasons 4 through 7. Now, if you have been watching this podcast for the entire 420 something episodes that have existed of this podcast, you will know that we usually do a DNA at the end of a show. And I decided early on that there was no way we could do that at the end of Stargate. It was just too much. And so I split it into what I thought were reasonable chunks.
They're not. Spoiler alert.
Seasons 4 through 7 is 88 episodes of Stargate. And we only recorded our last episode 3 days ago, which meant we had 3 days to go through 88 episodes of the show to try and decide what was winning the awards. So if you disagree with us, please tell us because I would love to hear other ideas. Because let me tell you how much I am not confident in my answers.
I would really like if you made all of your Stargate people like I know Bestie Doug doesn't actually listen to the show,
Or
but
talk
if
to me.
you oh, that's a bummer. But if you could make all of the people in your life who actually watch Stargate just listen to the DNA awards. I don't care if they listen to the rest of the show. I mean, I'd
Right.
like if they listen to the rest, but like
Yeah,
specifically listen to the DNA awards so we have some commentary on it for like what we've done wrong.
correct.
Because I have no doubt that I have not done this correctly.
Based on the fact that you sent me a text this morning or this afternoon that said that you had the most unhinged answers for this DNA awards, and I did it while trying to give final exams today. Um,
I was at lunch, so like I did do it, and I did think about it before I started writing it down. But I didn't.
I'm
I started researching at lunch.
Yeah, I thought about things like, okay, I have a couple answers that I'm unsure if given 2 weeks and an actual rewatch of all of these episodes, if I would have actually picked them. For the most part, I'm pretty confident. But let's get right into it because
Absolutely.
I don't even know. So the first award, when we start with the big ones. The very first award is for the best director of our little intermediate season, and I chose this one was hard, but I chose Martin Wood.
I too chose Martin Wood.
I went back and forth. I kind of did like a count of who directed, well, how many episodes and what was going on, and I really while there were some directors that were good in a lot of in like some of the one-off episodes, I really narrowed it down to Martin Wood and Peter DeLuise. Those were the two big directors for this section of the
Yeah.
show. And I really think that given all of the episodes that they directed lined up against each other, I felt that Martin Wood directed more of the stronger episodes of this
Yeah.
era.
What I did similar, but I started with what are the episodes that I think were the strongest this season, and then
Mm.
worked backwards. And I did that both
Mm.
for the director and the writer.
Okay.
Um, and so I decided, I also Martin Wood. And I did write down a few of the episodes he wrote, but I also or that he directed, but they pair with the writer I've chosen, so I'm gonna wait to talk to the writer
Okay.
to go into
Well,
more. But yeah, so
well, that's okay because the next award is for the best writer, and you get to go first for that one.
okay. So here's the thing. I picked a writer team because every episode that I found that they wrote together. Is that fair, or do I have to pick one of them?
Well, it depends because if your pair is Joseph Malozzi and Paul Mully, they are by contract paired as writers, though most of the episodes that they both wrote, they didn't actually both write, and we don't know who wrote them. So
Okay,
if that's who you
that
chose,
is
then
it.
then if that's who you chose, then by contract you actually do have to pick both of them.
Correct. Legally, I have to pick them together.
Legally, they are.
Um, so I looked to see what they all did together, and we have oh my gosh, Point of No Return, Desperate Measures, Homecoming. I think that says Fifth Man. Um,
Mhm.
so one of them, I think Fifth Man wasn't directed by Martin Wood, but the other three were all directed by Martin Wood and written by Joseph Malozzi and Paul Mully. And they were some of the episodes that I found stronger
Okay,
when it came to both visuals and storyline collectively.
that's
Um,
fair.
so
I
that's
mean,
why I've picked
I
him.
love Jomo and Paul Mully. We talk about
Yeah,
them all the time. Joseph Malozzi, not only was he one of the lead writers for the show, he has done probably the most work at continuing to talk about behind the scenes things. His blog is where I get a lot of my information from. I really, really like them. And I thought about picking them, but I did not. It was actually just because in terms of separating it from direction or visuals, just in terms of truly best scripts of the episodes, the writer that I thought was more of a heavyweight in this section was Robert C. Cooper.
and that's fair. He had some really good ones these seasons as well.
Yeah.
And I did look at it a little more plot as opposed to like just the script for like the actors and stuff. So I
Well,
looked at it more plot
yeah,
heavy.
I do. I like a lot of his plots, but in general, I think both the story and the dialogue, he really, not that the other guys don't get them, but
Yeah.
I think the episodes that I feel were the most emotional or touched me or had the best character development, I really thought
Yeah.
were Robert's
That's fair.
scripts.
I do think I picked him at the last two awards too. That's
Which
another
makes
reason
sense,
I didn't pick
which
him.
also makes sense. I mean, he is technically every episode of the show is credited to Robert C. Cooper
Sure.
because he is the one who developed the story for television. So it
Right.
makes sense that he understands the story like
Mhm.
the best. So yeah. But I think those are two pretty strong ones. And he did not solo write all of his episodes. He did also write
Right.
some of them with Brad Wright, but he did write a bunch by himself, which is why I didn't do them as the pair.
Yeah, there was a couple that were just by him that I was like, oh, these are really strong. And they're just him. They weren't like
Yeah.
so
Like
yeah, I think that was
he
a fair
wrote
pick.
Heroes and Heroes Part 2. Like
Yeah.
Heroes Part 1 and Part 2, and I'm pretty sure he also wrote Lost City Part 1 and Part 2. Um which obviously are the most recent
Right.
strong episodes, but in general they're also some of the strongest episodes.
Right.
So, all right. And then our last little special one. Those ones we don't do best and worst for directors and writers because it like we don't do worst because
Yeah.
often if someone is not really a good director, they don't come back and so then we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, there
And
was one episode that I was like, this wasn't a great episode. And I was like, oh, I've only seen, I think this director's had one other episode
yeah.
this whole show.
Well, and also sometimes it's not their fault when an episode's not great.
Right.
Like you can tell when a director made an episode good. And you can tell when a director's episode's not great, and it's not often their fault. Like Amanda Tapping's only episode that she directed was not a great episode.
But it wasn't
But
bad
I
directed.
wouldn't, and if I had to go through and pick like what is the worst, like what is the single director that had the least good credits,
Mm-hmm.
it would probably have to be her because her episode's not strong. However, that look when you look at it, her episode's weakness has very little to do with her directing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She had
it's
some really
tricky.
good angles and shots, which we talked about in the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But so the last of our special bests is the best line. And this one I most certainly do not think I actually stand by. It is not the truly probably even my favorite line. It is probably the most famous line. It is one of the lines that if you go to a Stargate Reddit and ask what is one line you could use to unite the entire Stargate fandom, this is the line. And it is from season four's episode, Window of Opportunity. In the middle of my backswing.
I didn't see that. I tried to like because there's not a chance in hell I would remember lines
Yeah,
from shows.
yeah,
So I did try to go through and be like, what were the top lines from season 4 and season 5? And one of them, I think it was season 6, had like a lot that were like listed.
yeah.
And so I did still listed, but I was like, that was not for me.
Yes, but you
So
also don't like that episode as much as I
I
do.
don't know, yeah.
So,
Um, so that's good. I mean, the rest of the Stargate universe fandom seems to like it, so that is a
yeah.
great pick. Um, I picked a dialogue scene uh, because I couldn't find just a line that like I would pick out something and it's like
Well, that was my phone had a
that
volume
was
on that
so
I did not
scary.
know it had on.
Um, but like I could pick a line like yeah, me too. But it's like okay, we know that came from Jack in response to Sam, but like at the same time, you I don't know. It just I couldn't find a line that
Okay.
said it all, and so I picked this dialogue scene, and it's the one between Jack and Daniel, where Daniel says, I always seem to be saying goodbye to you. He says, yeah, I noticed that. Why don't you stick around for a while? He's like, I can't really. You just did. Special occasion. Christmas? No. Groundhog Day? No. I've got my journey and you've got yours. Something like that. Yeah. And I don't know
Yeah.
that one. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so that is not a line, but it did stick out to me, and I remember feeling it when I watched it.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick a dialogue, like a back and forth moment, please don't die.
I'm trying very hard.
If I had to pick like a back and forth moment, I think I would probably either pick the moment with Jack and Sam when Jack is her hallucination in
Mm-hmm.
Grace and she's
Mm-hmm.
admitting how she feels about everything. Or I would pick, I think it's in season four. Maybe,
Oh,
no,
this was in season 6. I
no,
don't know the title of this episode, but
no,
it's
there's,
Abyss. Abyss.
oh, Abyss. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. There's an episode, and I think it's in season four, where is that when they come after Hammond? The
Mm-hmm.
blackmail stuff? That's in season four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the conversation Hammond and Jack have about why Hammond is letting them get to him with the blackmail.
Right, right.
That is it like so those are like I would pick if I had conversations, I have more ideas, but like for just one single line, um,
Yeah.
it was either that or when Jack basically tells the clone to fuck off.
Oh
So
yeah. That was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yours is great. I like it.
Thanks. Thanks, I cheated.
All right, so now we get into the section of the DNA awards where we do actually do bests and worsts. And Courtney will have the pleasure of going first for most of the bests. So that's going to be fun.
It's gonna be
So,
something.
so first we have our best episode.
Yes. This is I've written down the wrong one. So I had a hard time with this one because
As did I.
well, when you think about the best episode of these seasons, you're thinking Heroes, you're thinking Lost City, like those are your generics. They
Yeah.
are, and they probably are the best. But I was trying to go off the rails. I wanted to pick one that wasn't from um your top picks.
Yeah.
And so I recognize that this is probably like number 12 on someone's list. But I did go with Abyss. I did forget that these were the same episode when I picked it. So I am repeating what I've just said. But I really liked the entire dialogue between Jack and Dino throughout this whole episode. And there
Mhm.
really wasn't a lot else going on. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
this is a great episode. It's
But
a
it's
great episode.
so good. And I just like you see so much emotion, you see so much of Jack, and you see how like strong he is, and like we don't always see his like emotional strength on top of his physical strength. I
Yeah.
mean, we have with like his son and some of that stuff, but like a lot of other times it's purely militaristic. We don't have a lot of his
Yeah.
emotions like that come through. And this one we really do. And we really see that bond him and Daniel had and have. And I don't know. It stuck out to
No,
me. So
that's a
I'm
great
going with
pick.
this.
I love that. I did not try to go off the beaten path. I was cliche as shit, and I don't feel bad. I picked Heroes Part Two.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
probably the best one of them all. So
Yeah. Interestingly, both of the two highest rated episodes of the entire series are in this section. And we did not pick either of them.
oh, which ones were they?
So those two are Windows of Opportunity, which
Sure.
again, I love. You don't. That's okay. And Lost City Part Two. Those are the two
Okay.
highest rated
Yeah.
episodes of the entire show from season 1 to 10. They're both in this 4 to 7 section. However, I did not pick either of them.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't either, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Worst episode was I think harder for me actually than best episode because
yeah.
there's some clunkers in there. It's I mean it is a product of its time. There are definitely some clunkers in there. I went with an episode that I don't actually dislike like while watching it. It doesn't bother me, but
Yeah.
in terms of like an actual story, it's really not good. And that is
Okay.
The Other Guys.
Yes, that is fair. That was one that I had like in the running for what I was gonna
Yeah,
dislike the most, but I didn't go with that one. I didn't love it while we were watching it, and I don't love it now. Like, so I do think that's a really good pick. And that they do come up later for me. Don't fret. Um, but I had a hard time because I had a harder time with this one than I did the best episode also. Um, and I think I'm gonna pick the controversial one,
Oh, I love controversy.
but I think I'm gonna go with Proving Ground. And
Okay. No,
I
I don't think
just
that's controversial at all. I'm okay with that because you got really attached to characters that we then never saw again for any reason.
right. We never saw these people again. We
Yeah.
were introduced to them like they were going to be someone. Some people died. But we didn't get to see our team.
Yeah.
We like wasted a whole episode not seeing our team to see people we're never going to see again. And
Yeah.
it was just infuriating. And it wasn't that great of an episode put together, anyways. Like it was
Right.
just okay as an episode already.
And interestingly, I think it's funny that we both picked episodes that the main focus is not on SG-1. Like it's like SG-1
Right.
is negligible at best in both
Yeah.
episodes. Mine, however, does have the slight advantage that Felger and Lee are not one-off characters, whereas in
Right.
Proving Ground, we literally never see most of those people ever again.
Right. Yeah. I
Valid. Totally valid. Um, what about your best guest star?
I was split off. This is why I was hoping you'd go first. Because am split. I really think you're gonna pick the one I don't pick. Like, I think you're gonna pick one of these
Oh,
two.
I think anyone who knows me who knows who I'm gonna pick.
Oh, you're not gonna pick one of these two. But I wish you would have. So I'll tell you mine, and then once you tell me, I'll tell you mine. I was
Yeah.
thinking, I think I'm gonna go Dion Johnstone. I
Oh, love
really
that.
thought about it for a while, but I love that he comes as a character. I love that he's the when I love Shaka, like Shaka, that's his
Chaka,
name.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I love Chaka. Like and I love that storyline, even though it doesn't. Like in the grand scheme of the Gold so far, it hasn't
yeah. Yeah. Well, and
been super necessary.
Deanne Johnston's a great answer because not only is he Shaka, he's also the fifth man in Fifth Man, and
Right, that's
and
what I'm
he's like
saying.
and he
Like,
has quite a few other like prosthetic roles as well. He's a great,
hmm
great choice.
so I just love him.
That's a really good one. I picked David Hewlett,
Sure.
um,
Yeah, sure.
because this is the
That
last time I can call Rodney a guest star, because he will join us forever soon. Um, but yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's not just that I love Rodney in future versions of Rodney, but because that does obviously color a lot of it.
sure.
I think as an actor, David Hewlett and his character and like the facial expressions he makes and the fact that he is so good at making you want to punch him in the face and still
Right.
trust him completely at the same time. Like, I just think that it's a great character.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and he's not a bad character. I
No.
don't have the same connection yet because I haven't seen
Right.
him, obviously, but I like to hate his character right now. Like, I
Yes.
like his presence, even if I'm
Correct.
annoyed at his character's
Yeah.
existence. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
All right.
I will take my backup.
Yeah, please.
Is Willie Garson, and I had a hard time not picking
Oh,
him because I just adore him. He's just such a neat
yeah.
looking guy, and he's so
As
fun every episode he's in.
as
Like,
a human, yes, as a human, he's 100% the best. I do love his character. I just don't love his character. I think Deion Johnstone's multiple characters and David Hewlett,
that's what
like,
I was
and
thinking
Rodney is
too.
like a
Yeah,
stronger choice, but I do love Willie.
yeah,
For the worst guest star, I had a really hard time with this because I think there are a lot of kind of flat characters and like one-dimensional, one-off characters in this show just by the by the way the show is made, like what it is and the
sure.
stories they're telling. And so I struggled with this one a lot. And what I ended up doing was going with someone that I did love the character, but more so I think I didn't believe the actor as the character.
Okay,
So I do think it's more of an actor issue. And like, so I try to justify it that way than just being like, which one off awkward character do I hate the most? Because
right.
there's a lot. So I picked Sean Patrick Flannery.
Okay.
He played Orlin, who was the weird alien boyfriend that Sam had in season 4, who like appeared in her house and then
I
disappeared.
love. No, I adore him.
I didn't believe
Oh,
him. Like, you know what? Like, I didn't believe
oh,
that
that's
he
fair.
loved her. It was not,
Yeah,
like
that's
I said,
fair.
it wasn't that the character was the worst because he was not great, but there was a lot worse characters. He was
Yeah.
just one that when I think about watching it, I didn't believe that he cared.
That's fair. That's fair. I really, I really liked that episode. I really liked that story.
That's fine.
Uh,
It's okay to disagree because
uh,
also you and I, despite the fact that we both have like backgrounds in both English and theater, you really do look at the stories more from the writing perspective, and I look at a lot of it more from the like performance perspective.
mhm.
And that episode wasn't the worst written episode, but
Yeah,
I didn't believe his performance. And so for me
yeah,
that
that's
makes
fair.
him the worst guest star because there was a lot of worse characters, but not a lot of people that I believed because it takes a good actor to play that bad of a character well.
Yeah,
And so a lot of our guest stars, I actually give them a lot of kudos because they played really shitty characters pretty well.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Um, I also think mine fell a bit flat. Maybe not as much. He was a little bit recurring for a second. but I went with Courtney J. Stevens, who plays Lantash.
Mm.
And I know that he was meant to be like a
Which is
soldier
so
of
funny because you
like
loved
an
Lantash
underling.
so much.
I know, but then like I just feel like he fell flat a bit. And I saw him come up when I was going through some of the characters and I was like, he's the one that I just feel like the
Yeah.
actor himself didn't get there either.
Because, yeah, Lantash and Martouf, that's the same person, right?
No.
Isn't it? Isn't Lantash the name of Martouf's
Oh, that's
thing?
for sure who I'm not thinking about then. I'm for sure thinking about the wrong person then.
Well, you might be right and I might be wrong. No, Lantash is Martouf's,
That's not who I'm thinking of then. I have written down the wrong person.
okay.
I am thinking of who is the underling for, I want to say Apophis, who has a similar look to Lantash. Could be to Kronos though.
Oh, no, no, no. Okay, so Courtney J. Stevens plays Lantash, like, is where Lantash goes no, when after Martouf is killed. So that actor does play Lantash. I was just thinking of a different part because
Let's,
Martouf was killed. The Tok'ra were able to save Lantash, and so the
but that's not who I'm thinking of.
okay.
I've written down the wrong person.
So you're thinking of who the underling of which god?
I want to maybe Kronos. There was somebody they just would come in and they tried to kill everyone and they tried to pretend like they were big and bad, but they weren't really over
Yes,
them. They didn't
no,
last very long, and they just sucked all around. Like they weren't good at their job as their character's job. They were
I
under someone and pretended like they weren't, and I just didn't like them as a character. Do you know who I'm
I'm
talking
I
about?
do know who you're talking about. Jaffa commanders that we know. I'm looking up just the Jaffa commanders that we know. Um,
I remember going on a crusade about this guy when he came out.
right. Jaffa commander. He's blonde, right?
Yes.
Um. Oh God, who was
Is it
that?
Balls guy?
No, you know what? It's Harrower's.
Hmm.
Harrower's Jaffa commander. Um, but didn't he have a name? I thought he.
Yes.
No, so it's not Harrower's. What is this man? This picture. His picture came up, but now I can't. Okay.
What a fun time.
What a fun time. We are doing so well. No, where?
I just remember him and I just remember hating him.
No, it's Harak. Harak.
Herrick, that's his name.
He was the first prime to Anubis after he was the first prime of Khonshu.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's Michael Adamwaite is the actor.
Sorry. Sorry, Courtney. Michael
Yes.
Adam Lee is the one I would like to give this worst
Yeah, because
award.
also poor Courtney Stevens actually played one of the Stargate commanders. He was the one in Proving Ground who then got taken over by the Tok'ra after Martouf
Mm.
died. So he wasn't even Lantash's actual actor.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I did,
he's the one who we
yeah.
got attached to and then he died.
Right. That
Yes.
makes
So
sense.
Michael Adamwaite plays Harak, and yes, he's a very flat and annoying Jaffa commander. So that
Yes.
is totally fair. Thank you so much for going on that journey of Google with us.
Yes, I
Um,
knew we'd get there.
yeah, I could picture his face as soon as you said it, and then I was like, I don't remember shit about him. Um,
Mhm.
Next, we have the best plot line.
Okay.
This one I'm so unsure of myself that I even have a question mark next to it.
Um, so here's the thing. I picked one that I really like that isn't really even that in depth because I think I picked an episode. I don't know if I picked right. Because I picked an episode. I picked The
Okay.
Fifth Man. I really like the storyline, the plot line of The
Okay.
Fifth Man. It's not overarching, however. So if I was just to pick an overarching plot line, I really like Daniel's arc of the
Okay.
ancient back to Earth. I don't know what the right answer is. So
So
I
I
picked
picked I
those.
picked an overarching plot line.
Okay, then I like Daniel's rise and fall as an
Okay.
ancient.
Um, that is not the one I picked, but I will come back to it about something else.
Okay.
I picked the whole attempt to find Atlantis. Obviously at this point they don't actually know that it's called Atlantis and that, but the way that they just kept coming back to the quote unquote lost city and the tablets and the information and how it really did pull.
I thought in the last episode of the Jack
Yeah,
says Atlantis.
Jack says Atlantis, but then Daniel's like, I don't know if Atlantis is here. They haven't really 100% settled on the fact that this is what they're
Gotcha,
actually
gotcha.
looking for. Like they're getting there. They're like this close. Um, but the journey through understanding the ancient language and Jonas is part of it, and Daniel's trying to get his uh ascended memories back, and Jack's information with the ancients, and just the way that, and I really liked it because it wasn't in your face. It wasn't every episode was, oh my God, we have to find this thing until the
Right.
end. Like it was very much a like we're going to fight the world and we're going to keep exploring and we're going to do things. But oh my God, we also have this one piece of information that we can put in our pocket that will help us with this other thing that we're still at home trying to figure out. And I liked the way that they did it.
Yeah.
And that it was like
Yeah.
multiple seasons of build up. And then the last three episodes were like, by the way, this is what you've been waiting for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the worst plot line, and this might be controversial. I don't like it. And unfortunately, we're not done with it. Um, My worst plot line, I just wrote replicators are people now.
Mm.
I don't like the human replicators. I don't like them. They're like such a big deal in terms of the villains of the show. And spoilers for season 8, they're coming back. I'm only willing to say that because Courtney already knows that. But I don't like them. And I think it takes an already almost impossible to defeat villain and gives them an extra superpower. And I just don't like it. I don't think it's well
Yeah.
written.
That's fair. That's fair.
So,
Um, it was a leap, and
yeah.
so that's fair. Um, I again didn't really know how to answer this. I've forgotten how the DNAs work. So my least favorite thing was the doctors from the other guys. They've been in and out through episodes, and I never liked them in any of the episodes they're in. Like, I'm sorry for them. I wish them the best, but they just come in
Well,
and
and
screw things up, and I don't know why they're there.
I feel bad because Dr. Lee is actually really smart and he does really well. He just is always only in the episode because Sam can't do things by herself, so then he feels annoying and his character is just
Yes.
used badly. Dr. Felger is fucking annoying. Dr.
He
Lee's just
sucks.
used badly.
Yeah. So that is my least favorite, is that every time they're there, I'm annoyed with it, and I don't feel like they need to exist. All they've done is cause issues. They come to the world with Daniel and be trapped and give away all information. They go to save the SG-1 when they're just annoying. Everything's their fault for the moment.
Yeah,
It's just annoying.
that is fair. Um, the next one is my favorite awards to do for Stargate because so so little of Stargate happens in anything other than military fatigues that these are always the funniest awards. So Courtney, who are you giving the best outfit to?
I am giving it to Sam's ball gown for her dance on her date
Oh, that's a
with
good
Pete.
one. That's a good one. I went a little bit more angular and aggressive because I picked Osiris's outfit at the summit.
Oh,
Like that,
what do you
it's like that
call it?
off the shoulder, like gold thing with all the jewelry, and I'd wear it now if I was 30 pounds smaller.
I liked that one.
But yeah, those are always funny because it's like digging through, being like, did anyone wear anything other than fatigues in this
Other
episode?
than, yeah,
Although,
absolutely.
are they called fatigues for the Air Force?
No idea. That is not a thing that's in my vernacular.
I know that in Army they're called fatigues. But does the Air Force call the uniforms fatigues? Oh, well, apparently no one calls them fatigues
Is it the
anymore.
blues? The
Um,
blue?
Fatigues was a common term for the basic work uniform, including the olive drab green uniforms that wear before the camouflage. But apparently, no one has in any branch of the Air Force has called them fatigues since the 80s.
Well, you're a little behind the times.
Thanks, Grandpa. That's embarrassing. The worst outfit in the show. Um, I love him so much, but I would actually prefer it if he did only wear fatigues or not fatigues. Because Jack's ability to dress himself is not great.
I
Um,
almost picked this.
I specifically picked the episode in season 4, Chain Reaction, where he and Mayborn are on their wild goose chase of the entire world to defeat Kinsey. Um, but basically, any episode where he's off base in his own clothes, he's wearing a very ill-fitting plaid shirt with a grandpa like beige jacket over it and a different color beige pants. And it
You
is
know that's his regular clothes. You just
oh,
show up to work. That's
100%. That's not a costume. And it's horrible.
it's rough. It's rough. But that's what happens when you let
Yeah.
grandpa come to set.
Yeah, just like Richard Dean Anderson's dialogue is mostly his own shit. His schedule is his own shit. His costumes are also his own shit. And we
Yeah.
have to, and Rick, we have to have a talk.
Look,
Um,
he's super old now. Let him live his life. Let him live his life.
so what about you? What did you pick for the
Um,
worst outfit?
I picked, this isn't like a full outfit, but I picked Tilt's floppy hat. It's just it's so dumb looking. And maybe it's because like those kind of hats are like kind of coming back in style and I'm already outraged
That's
about
true.
that.
I am
And
outraged
so
about the fact that bucket hats
maybe
are
that's
in.
why I hated it so much. Um, but yeah,
I
that's
I
that's what I went with.
honestly, I work at a high school and I'm outraged about what's in fashion every day.
I'm Rachel a
Did
lot
did I tell
around
you the
people.
story about my jeans and how I'm too millennial for them?
What does
So,
that mean?
oh my God. So I get Stitch Fix boxes now, and I'm trying to have like more work clothes and more trendy clothes and clothes that actually fit me. Like, I'm trying to be a person, trying to be an adult.
Sure. Sure.
Dan does
Love
not love
it.
how much money I spend on clothes, but that's fine.
Sure.
But so I got these jeans, and they're high-waisted, but they're like 7 buttons instead of a zipper, and they're like
Hmm.
hella
Buttonfly jeans.
wide-legged. Like
Sure.
not just flare, like wide-legged all the way
Yeah,
down.
yeah. Like 90s.
Like what all of the kids are wearing now. And every time I wear them, everyone tells me how good I look. And I am so unconscious, like self-conscious about it because I'm like, no, 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 I look like my pants don't fit. But I don't. I do look really good. But like literally in my like when I had to like review the clothes, I go, these I'm gonna keep them. They fit great. I have gotten nothing but compliments, but I'm still trying to convince myself that I'm not too millennial to wear these pants. Like
I love it. No, those became popular in the 90s. So your era, you're in the era who can wear those. Those
okay.
really massive wide leg that like they're covered in water every
No,
time you
but
wear
no,
them.
no, no. But that's the thing. Big, wide goth pants are
Yeah,
one thing. Skinny jeans are another thing. These are
right.
like slightly wider than boot cut. They're like
Okay.
They're like what all the celebrities are wearing now. And they're just weird for me.
Mm. Are the celebrities on my bar prep website? Because otherwise, I haven't seen them.
No,
I've been real under. I've literally only watched Bob's Burgers for the past like 3 weeks. Like, I don't know what's happening in the world. Um,
I don't. No, I don't. Stop.
eh,
I'm pulling up. Um,
okay.
they're like, here we go. These are cargo pants, not jeans, but no, no, those are really cargo-y cargo pants.
A little too cargo-y for us.
Yeah, no. Oh, here's the perfect picture. Oh, this is from Shein, so that's great. Um, they're like,
They've gone away, but I saw them before they did.
yeah, they're
I
like
don't.
just, oh my God, Shein, go away. Reject all. I don't want your cookies. See?
I don't love those.
I don't love them either on that, but on my body, they're not as bad as I like. Everyone tells me I look cute, and then I'm like, do I have the worst fashion sense in the world that I hate myself in these pants, and everyone thinks I look good?
I've been
I-
there.
Is
I've been
is
there.
Jack's
It's
beige
weird.
on beige? What's cool? Are we all gonna wear
Maybe.
teal floppy hat? Like, is this the world we're coming to?
Oh God, what a world. I don't need to be in this. Just take me out of it. I
Um,
can't I can't live in a world like that.
I can't live in this world. Um, what is the best special effects in the show?
That is such a great question. And one that I don't have a real answer to because I had a very hard time remembering any effect at all that ever came to my brain. I don't know
Same.
why. There's
Oh,
there's effects.
the worst effect wrote down without even thinking. The
Immediately wrote that
immediately
one down.
best effects, however,
I
that might have been the last
guess
one I did.
I guess I'm gonna go with the time delay with the replicators.
Okay.
It's not a huge
Okay.
effect, but
No.
I thought it did okay. Otherwise, I'm looking at like the last episode of the season with Jack in his chair. Like, I'm just not getting a lot of effects in my
I
brain.
I did ascending, just in general. The of every time they show the ascended beings coming in and out of the screen, Daniel as actual ascension, Daniel's drop from ascension, like the way that the
Fair.
lighting looks and the color, because that is one of the most obvious, like this is an effect
Yeah.
things,
That's fair.
but it doesn't look bad.
Mhm.
It looks a little weird, but it is a little weird. So like it's not like
Right.
a so I picked that because I like I said, I couldn't think of effects. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I could go with the Stargate Event Horizon, but I'm pretty sure I did that last time. Like the spaceship effects are okay. They're not
I know.
great.
I know.
Um, there's
These were the
not
same thoughts I was having.
like there are, I mean, there are decent, like obviously the things that they do with the lasers and the guns and the like the symbiotes,
Hmm.
they're not
Sure.
mind blowing. They're not bad. They're not mind blowing. I really do think the ascending itself is the most interesting looking effect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
um,
I literally get writing it down for that.
yeah.
So,
Whereas the worst effect were the bugs in Sight Unseen.
oh my gosh, that is not what I wrote down, but that is the correct answer.
Oh my God, they're so bad.
They're
So bad.
so bad.
They like
Oh,
look like we're in a weird Mary Poppins cartoon for no goddamn reason.
yes.
They're
Oh God. Oh,
so bad. Like I said,
I don't know
immediately.
why that
I
didn't come
wrote
to
the
me.
list of all of the awards and then I just wrote bugs and then went back to the beginning. Like,
Amazing. Oh God, that's such a good answer. That is the correct answer, but I wrote Space Race because I just couldn't deal.
it was not good either.
I
It was
just
not good
couldn't
either.
deal.
No,
Um,
it was.
Yours is still the best one, but Space Race, I immediately thought of it was like that's the one I'm writing down and didn't
To be
give it a
fair,
second thought.
almost wrote that as the best because it was the only one I could think of. And then I was
So I
like,
thought, I wrote it for worst, and then that was like one of the first things I wrote down. And so then I came back and I was like, do I have to write space race for the best instead? Do I need to figure out different words? Like, it's like, what happened here?
Yeah, no.
Uh, yeah,
Courtney, what is the
yes.
biggest plot hole in
So
Stargate?
here's the problem. I just wrote a lot of things down, and I don't know what the biggest plot hole is.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of the plot holes are things we're going to come back to.
That's fair. You don't have the whole picture for things that could.
Right.
So your answer could still be a plot hole up to this point that then gets addressed. Like,
See, I avoided all of the things that I thought might have a different answer or
that's
might
fair. That's totally fair.
change.
That's totally fair.
So I was kind of split because I want to say proving ground, but I already talked about it
Yeah.
because I feel like that was a plot line that built up for no reason.
But I don't really know,
Or
is that really a plot hole or just something
I
that's
don't know.
annoying?
So I also wrote down because of that, Kinsey becoming the president, because it looks like that's not going to happen now. And we really harped on how that's the future. And so it's like, did you know that this was not going to be the future when you wrote it as the future? But he still be the president. And
Um,
so this is where I'm
so
at.
so that is actually not a plot hole. Because in the future where Kinsey was the president, it was in the world where they had let the Ashen come
Right.
to
It
their
was oh
planet.
01. Right.
Yeah. No, that was 2010. And then when we went
It
back,
sure was. I wrote that down.
and then we went back to 2001 and figured out, oh,
Right.
don't let the Ashen come to the
Right.
planet, then that prevents that future from happening.
I see.
So it's not
Well,
really a
then
plot hole, it's just annoying.
I also put the Russians. We did a lot with the Russians,
You know, that's
and then they
fair.
never
The
came back
Russian
to me.
general just fucking disappeared. He was on base for like a season and now he's
Yeah.
gone.
I know. Those were the three. Those were the three I wrote
That's
down. So the
okay.
Russians win.
The Russians wins because the Russians is like legitimately a plot hole. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to that. Mine is kind of a much bigger, like theoretical. I don't think even they have an answer to this.
Okay, okay.
And my question is, how does ascension even work?
Mm,
Specifically, a la Daniel and Anubis. Because Daniel ascended. He became this all powerful being.
sure.
He got involved in the world, and they rejected him and wiped his memory.
Mhm.
Daniel has glimpses and pieces of what happened while he was ascended, but he doesn't have any physical powers of the ancient beings. He doesn't have an ancient library. He doesn't understand the language. Anubis was an ancient who was rejected.
Mhm.
Same situation. However, he still has the body and form of an ancient and the powers of an ancient and the memories of an ancient. And like he feels like he's very much more invested in changing the world than Daniel was. And I don't, and that is something that they will never really explain because now Anubis is dead, so it doesn't matter.
Sure, sure.
But like, I don't, in general, and actually, I read a list of the 10 biggest plot holes from Stargate as a whole, and this made the list, so I know it will forever be a plot hole. The Ancients are a real kind of like hit or miss on whether they want to punish people or not. I don't really
Mm.
understand the fucking rules, why Anubis gets to keep his power and Daniel doesn't. Like,
I mean, it feels very much like the devil versus the fallen angel. Like, I know that the devil is also a fallen angel, but he is like the big bad of the fallen angels. Um,
yeah,
and there are fallen angels throughout story times that come to Earth and lose their memories or have a reset button or have to do other things. And the devil just went straight there. And that's the like dichotomy that it felt like to me. It's still a plot hole. I'm not saying it's not, but that is
yeah.
my brain what it sees
Yeah,
things.
but then also the fact that Anubis, big bad Anubis, everybody hates him. The ancients don't want him to take over the power of that they have Anubis. Daniel stops him and they're like, "Oh no, no, Daniel, you interfered." Bitch.
Maybe Anubis
So
got too powerful for the ancient, and
so
Daniel did.
so ascension as a whole fucking concept is a plot hole.
Fair, fair, yeah.
Um yeah. Next we have the best individual acting moment. And so that's not necessarily the best actor, best, but it is the moment. And for me, I did pick an entire episode. Um,
We did the same.
we might have, because I think hands down it is probably one of the best pieces of acting ever. I picked Michael Shanks in Lifeboat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same,
Yeah.
same thing.
Um, it is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it
Is
was
that the
really
episode
good.
he was nominated for?
I think so.
I mean, I would
I'm
hope,
like 90% sure that
I
that
would
is
really
it.
hope that that's the episode he was nominated for. He was nominated for a Gemini Award.
Mhm.
Um, I think he should have been nominated for a bigger award than the Gemini Awards, but Canadian sci-fi TV doesn't go to the Emmys. Uh,
Sure, sure.
uh, weird. Where is the four wins and nine nominations? Um, so in 2004, he was nominated for Best Actor in a Television Series. Um, oh no, he did. He won the Leo Award for Best
Mm.
Lead Performance by a Male in the episode Lifeboat. Um, for he was nominated for a Leo Award five times, six times, seven and eight. No, for Stargate. Fuck the rest of these nominations. For Stargate, he was nominated for five Leo Awards, and he won two. The second one we have not gotten there yet, but this one is
Yeah,
he did win for Lifeboat. Yes, because it is brilliant.
it was. It was quite good.
Sorry, somebody just asked a really stupid question because they don't understand wormholes. Someone in the Stargate Reddit page said that they watched Atlantis before SG-1 and they just always assumed that you could go, if you opened a wormhole, like a Stargate from A to B, you could also travel from B to A, and they don't understand why that doesn't work. And I was like, because that's not how wormholes work.
Oh, that was right.
Oh. Anyway, what was the best sci-fi moment?
Okay.
This one was hard. This one was hard because I was like, do I go with like wild alien nonsense or do I go with like the sciencey part of science fiction? Like what do I want?
I went a little more towards the sciencey part, but I went with the episode upgrades, where
Mhm.
Anise gave them the bracelets that made them like superhuman or something, and so you got a
Yeah.
little bit of like the science, but it also had a little bit to do with alien technology because it wasn't
Hmm.
just science.
Yeah.
Um, because I had a hard time with this
It's a good one. Weirdly, I didn't pick that episode for anything, which is funny because that is the first episode where there is any Jack and Sam shipping happening. So
one.
can't imagine that I didn't pick it. But I did I say the right episode? I might have put the wrong episode on my notes. No, no, I didn't. What am I talking about?
What episode did you try to put on your notes?
Um, I put an episode that I don't then I wrote down. Oh, no, it is. Okay, I wrote the right episode. I had Redemption parts one and two, which
Okay.
is the season six finale or premiere.
Right.
It's where Teal, but I forgot how many of the other things happened in this episode. So when I started reading the thing of the episode, I was like, what the fuck? Because I specifically was thinking about the triad of Jonas and Sam and Rodney and the bouncing ideas back and forth off of each other and the science that they had to do to figure it out and like absolutely wild hypothesis that Sam was throwing out there, and Rodney was like, but then it all worked.
Yeah.
That was what I chose as the sci-fi moment was the three of them working out the impossible science.
Gotcha, gotcha.
But then when I pulled up the episode, it was like Braytak comes back and tells Teal'c his wife is dead, and then he goes to Chulak, and then Ryak's there, and then Lieutenant Simmons is there, and I was like, what the fuck
You're
episode?
like not a bit of
I
that
was
is
like, I don't think I picked
yeah.
the right episode. I did. I did. I just picked one of the apparently 8 storylines that were happening in that
Yes,
episode.
yes, correct. A lot happened in that
A
episode.
lot happened in that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not prepared. Because that was right after Daniel dies, so everything's a shit show.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So now we come to the three big ones, our ultimates. For
Oof.
for the ultimate MVP. I struggled with this because I really wanted to do it to 2 different people.
Me too. Okay.
Um,
Big
but
girl
I
split.
I went with Janet.
She was on mine. Okay. So, yes,
I went with
no, for
Janet
sure.
because she is everything, and we would not have made it 7 years into this program without her.
Absolutely. And screw all the people that are like, what does she even do? Because she's the best.
She's the
You
best.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so devastation. So because you picked Jenna, I'm gonna pick General Hammond.
That was who I was stuck between.
Yeah, yep. I literally wrote them both down. I was like, God, I hope she'll pick one and I can pick the other.
Yeah,
Because I mean, he did so much for the Stargate, obviously,
obviously.
and he like even in the end, he made the choices that was best for everyone else, even if it wasn't what he wanted, or he stood up to protect his kid, like his
Yeah.
grandkids, when he quit the first time, and then the second time, whenever he was like
Yeah.
protecting the whole like Stargate command, like, and he always stood his ground. He always did the right thing, even if it wasn't the allowed thing.
Yeah, I think
To me,
I realized
just
I don't have anything on this list that is about Hammond actually, and that is like part of it is because I don't want to believe that. Like when I watched the first episode of season 8 and he wasn't in the credits, I started crying. Despite the fact that I fucking know that. Like,
right.
and also I actually did almost pick for my best line. I almost wrote, "Has Hammond of Texas fallen in battle?"
Oh, that was a good one. Though.
That was a
Yeah, that
good
was a good
one.
one. I forgot
Uh,
about that. So just now.
um, who is your ultimate punch in the face?
Well,
Well,
if
because
we were sitting in this
I'm afraid
podcast,
that, oh, but I think that we picked the same one.
well, he might be double punch because I picked Kinsey. And he needs to be punched 17 times. Everyone picked Kinsey.
The number of episodes in seasons 4 through 7, like when I went through and looked at the 88 episodes we had to talk about, the number of episodes where Kinsey is just a fucking prick. So many.
So
So
many.
many. Yeah, that is really the only correct answer. I mean, like, I get it. Like, Apophis, Osiris,
Sure.
Sokar, Harrower. We got a
Anubis.
lot of shitty
Oh,
people. Like,
sure. However,
but fucking Kinsey.
Kinsey. Every time.
Every time.
Ugh, riot.
So, the final award, the double helix, the pièce de resistance, the DNA award itself. I am 99% sure I also gave this award to the same thing for the first 3 episodes or 3 seasons, but I am choosing the team. SG-1 as a team, the characters. And part of that is because the team as we know it now, we will never see again. Those 4. And it is why people watch the show. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Um, that is a good one. And I think I picked that in the first round too. So I was like, I'm not picking that this time because even though that is the reason, that's the heart of the show.
yeah.
It's a little bit convoluted. But I'm picking the way that the actors work together outside of the show
Mm,
to build the show up. So you have how like Janet was like, I understand I need to leave for the show to go. And
yeah.
for Diana's Davis to be like, I understand I need to leave. And they all work together to like build the show and make sure it stays true to what it's supposed to stay true to.
Yeah.
And then it also like makes sense. And I feel like I mean you have Richard Dean Anderson, you have Angela, like they all do this. They all
Yeah.
work together behind the
Yeah.
scenes to make sure it,
Speaking
never
of
loses
them
track.
working together behind the scenes, I almost died the other day because a couple weeks ago, Christopher Judge posted a picture on Twitter of him and Corn Nemec together at a con. And I
Interesting.
was like, what? And then I deleted my Twitter app off my phone. Because
Hey.
not by choice. Twitter signed me out and then it wouldn't let me sign back in. It kept telling me my password was incorrect and that
Hmm.
like every time I tried to do it and the app just glitched and I realized I don't tweet enough for the app to take up space on my phone and piss me off this much, and so I deleted it.
Yeah, mine won't let me sign back in either because I tried to sign in the other day because I wanted to see if Katie Nolan had said anything about the next game. And she's on Blue Sky and Twitter, but I think she's more active on Twitter. And so I wanted to see what she had said, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't let me sign in, and I got really upset.
Yeah. So I deleted the entire Twitter app when it wouldn't let me sign in, and that made me sad because there are a few of the celebrities that I follow that do still only really post on Twitter and not everywhere else. So rip. Um
Bummer.
Christopher Judd really is the one who posts on Twitter the most. He tweets more than anybody else I follow. It's fine. Yeah, so that is the DNA Awards. Like I said, if you have ideas or thoughts of things we could have said better that were better, please tell us because 88 episodes is a fucking lot to have gone through and known what we were talking about. Um, yeah, so next week we start the wild journey that is our tandem
Wow.
watch, but we are starting with Stargate SG-1 Season 8, Episode 1. Um, just part one because there's confusion about two-part episodes that were two-part episodes and then weren't two-part episodes or were and then weren't and whatever. But New Order part one, just part one. We are watching for next week. And like I said, we will post. Sorry,
Thank
somebody just drove by my house with their radio loud enough that I thought Dan came
you.
home and it didn't make sense. Um, we will pin to our Instagram the watch order like listing, but then also every episode I will make sure to tell you guys what next week's episode is because it's gonna get tricky.
What an exciting time for everyone involved.
For everyone involved, mostly me because I have to keep track of it. Yay.
I
But
just show
yes,
up.
so next week we will be watching SG-1 Season 8, Episode 1. And we will see you first on Thursday for an episode of Thriller Thursday. Um, so happy DNAs, everybody.
Happy DNA.
Well,
If you
bye.
want to, if you want to find us,
Oh yeah, I guess we should do that. I forgot because like I didn't have to punch anybody in the face this time because I already did it.
I know I saw you almost say if you want to punch in the face.
Yeah, my
I was like,
brain
that's not
can't my
it.
brain can't handle breaking format. If you would like to share your ideas about the DNA awards that we desperately want from you with us, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on all the social media at Death and Aliens, except for probably not Twitter because we both deleted ours. Um,
I do have the Death and Aliens still logged on Twitter.
no, I have the Death and Aliens logged in on my
Yeah.
desktop. I just don't have the app on my phone. Um, you can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.